Well, it's December 2024. Welcome to SpeakEasy Online. I think we've got some festive fun to be had. If George is anything to go by with your fun and games. Anyway, we'll do a couple of rounds of poems and see how we get on, and then the sort of poetry hostage situation will be over. But hope you're all prepared for Christmas and you have a good one. I realise it's the shortest day soon, and a couple of years ago there was a project we did, the Light Fantastic. That was we did a big reading and a load of events and things on the solstice, and I wrote 2 poems, and these are them. First one's called The Woman Made of Light, and it goes like this. Golden whispers float through the glade, rippling over rivers and the streams, parallel platinum beams cutting through the darkness. A waterfall of diamonds, sparkling in a Fabergé dream. A distant rat-a-tat-tat of a woodpecker's drill echoes around the still, dappled corner of a green paradise, the kind not found in books, TV, or film. A place where magic resides, under leaf or pebble, stick or stone, hidden within tree or rock, each given a life, precious life, by running tears, the weeping of the trees. The forest is crying, light dims, darkness usurps its throne. A trickle becomes a torrent, for a moment at least. The sobbing subsides, and the woman of light returns smiling, beaming. Tranquility once more in the forest of light. And that's the first one. And then there's a second one that... Oh, thanks very much. It was like a ripple of applause went round the screen there. It was like a Mexican wave. Hey, 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 hey! Oh, it's Christmas, you crazy, crazy poets. Okay, and then the partner poem is called Halfway Out of the Dark. The velvet shroud envelops the day and the night. A blanket of shapeless forms rejoice in the absence of light. You're skating on black ice in a sub-zero El Dorado. A tremor, a rumble splinters the ground, echoing, reverberating, thundering all around. A face from another time looking through the mirror cracked, reflecting into infinity. Jet black snow is falling as your world turns to dust, and all that seemed to matter counts for nothing. The earth breaks apart and is made new again. Shadows retreat as through ash-filled clouds burns the speckled golden disk of all life. That's the second one there, so thank you very much. Thank you. Those were the first poems I read and wrote and read out at SpeakEasy many, many moons ago. There we are. Val, we're with you. What have you got for us?
Well, seeing as George has mentioned Christmas cards, I'll read you this one, which is called Lakeland Christmas Card. Mountain tops are tipped with snow, mirrored in the lake below. Frosty air hangs quiet and still. My steamy breath shows winter's chill. Trees stand out, bare and stark, shadowed by the semi-dark. The sky above is bluish grey, and forecasts more snow on the way. I take my photograph and go, tramping through the new-lain snow. Only footprints show I've been an intruder in this Christmas scene. My long walk home was cold and hard, but I found my Christmas card. So I'm wishing all the best to you and hope you all enjoyed the view. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. That was lovely. Very evocative. Okay, George, hello.
In the bun, that's it. Right. Trying to admit, I don't put up any Christmas decoration anymore. I've got one that I might actually dig out, but I don't usually. So my sole Christmas decoration is a Christmas cactus. So this is Christmas cactus. And actually, I thought I'd killed it last year because I sort of pruned it a wee bit. Well, my way of pruning was just to pull bits off it because it was getting so unwieldy and it didn't flower last year. But I've got two flowers this, so maybe it's beginning to recover. So, Christmas cactus. Run your fingers over my body, each succulent green part of me. I like it when you're tender. I drink and grow when you water, store my energy for this to flower your December decoration. Now you have abandoned any other Christmas memories. You must have seen my exuberance when I was lifted from my small prison into the expanse of the larger pot. Please remember, as I age, I need as much care as when you inherited me. I'm nearly 50, or do I forget, and am there already? My recollections fade like dropping flowers. I want you to look on every day as my celebration. My air roots breathe your exhale. I feel the breeze of your passing room to room. I like when you sit me in new vistas, when I see the world outside, or I'm with you as you eat. I taste bacon, eggs, and strange cinnamon sprout soup I am not too keen on, too close to cannibalism, too reminiscent of those Christmas dinners when I was young and caressed by a woman's gentler hand.
So where did that come from, George? From
Or
your
just
cactus?
Yeah, I know. I just wrote it. It was just I've got this, and it was my mother-in-law's. At
Hmm.
least, no, this one was my mother-in-law's. We had one as well, but this one was my mother-in-law's. We inherited it when she died. I tried to keep it going when Margaret died, so I feel like in a duty to try and keep it alive. Uh, I was well, Margaret wouldn't let me kill anything, and certainly not any plant. So I sometimes did it inadvertently, but not deliberately, if you know what I mean. So I moved it to a new pot after many, many years, and it suddenly went wow. So to say, I've been waiting for this. So I that's where it came from, Phil. And I think it must be over because it was in the house in 1974, so it must be over 50. I've got no idea how old it is.
Wow. I have visions of you and the cactus pulling crackers now over the Christmas holidays and things.
I should try giving it some red wine.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Uh, Roz, we're with you. You're on mute there. There we are.
Yes, yeah. I have a Christmas cactus that's about to die. It's only 11 though, so I don't think it's going to live any longer. Right, I'm with you, Phil. I've gone back to old. So I don't even know when these are from. They were some of the ones I did down at wild zucchinis, I think. So I got this one. Shall I compare me to an ostrich? Shall I compare me to an ostrich, a ridiculous flightless bird which, when any action's better, instead, on sensing danger, it buries its head? When confronted with adversity, finds it much better if it can't see, a sentiment with which I agree. Why recognise a looming hellhole or embrace what you cannot control, since what you don't can't since what you don't see can't cause you pain? I would choose to be a bird brain. I think there's a deal to be said about the practice of burying the head. It avoids all danger until you're dead. And that was that one, which I think it was actually a song, as I can't remember now. Might not have been.
Oh, it's a classic, that one. Thank you, Roz. Right. Well, that was a quick spin around the room. And this one is... has anybody seen any Christmas lights that look good? No.
A quick glance. I was up in Glasgow and I didn't go along to George Square, but I was looking along one of the streets into towards the edge of George Square, and I actually did think they looked quite attractive. I'm not one who likes Christmas lights particularly, but I thought they did look quite attractive. And it was that way when there was a slight smear of rain, so you've got the reflections and everything. Yeah, it did look quite good.
Anybody else?
There's nice lights in Cottonmouth and Maryport. They're always nicely done. Christmas.
Well, I'm thinking of other Christmas lights, other lights. There's these weird lights over the skies of the USA. Has anybody seen that? All those weird drones. Say again?
Are we talking about those?
Only on the telly.
Well, I've seen all these drones over there. It's very strange. It reminded me of a story, true story about John Lennon seeing a UFO in New York in the 70s during his lost weekend. I mean, they really are seeing these weird drones they can't explain over there. They had a debate in Congress about it and things. It's perplexed them. They don't know whether they're their own drones, American military drones, or Russian drones, or what they are. So this is a bit of a riffing off that. It's called Nobody Told Me There'd Be Days Like These. John Lennon said a lot of things. He said, all you need is love. He imagined all the people living life in peace. He cried for help. He asked us to give peace a chance. He asked questions, played mind games, and he saw things that blew his mind. There's UFOs over New York, and I ain't too surprised. Strange things have been seen in the skies once again. They're calling them drones, mystery drones. Precisely what they are isn't clear. What they want isn't clear. Whose they are isn't clear. When I wrote this, no arrests had been made, but they had arrested some guys for flying some stuff near an airport, but I don't know whether they were behind everything. I think not. No answers have been given. Nobody seems to know anything much at all. The reports of strange craft with lights on, drifting in the night skies over New York and New Jersey, over military bases, over power plants, utilities, vital infrastructure facilities, swarms of craft following Coast Guard vessels. But most domestic drones are small and have a battery life of 30 to 45 minutes. These craft are large, some the size of cars, SUVs bigger, and they seem to be overhead for hours on end. They've been reported over Donald Trump's residences, and since mid-November, at least 4 RAF bases have been witness to these mysterious airborne craft. The US Air Force happened to call these installations home. The military investigating. Is this posturing by hostile foreign nations? Russia or China spring to mind? What's the reason? What's the rationale behind buzzing these sites? Is it a brazen act to show that airspace can be easily occupied? Is it surveillance? Nukes hoping to be spied? But why draw so much attention with noise and lights? What are the reports of similar incidents from further overseas, in China, Russia, even as far as Australian territories? Maybe instant karma is going to get you for droning on and on and on and on. These lights in the sky are dazzling, but not as easily explained as Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. There is quite a mystery here, but perhaps love is the answer. You've got to let it grow. Maybe we all shine on, like the moon and the stars and the sun. We're playing those mind games together. But whatever gets you through the night is all right. It's all right. There's UFOs over New York, and I ain't too surprised. But nobody told me there'd be days like these. There you are. Strange times. There we are. Those are the kind of Christmas lights that I think are really interesting.
I've seen an unidentified object, I think. Well, actually, I'm wondering if it was actually ball lightning I saw, but I was driving once up to a Mullifton Tire up the side of, I can't remember, Loch Fyne. So I was driving, so it was a wee bit difficult on my own to actually look ahead at these lights in the sky way out over Kintyre. But there was this yellow orb which zoomed across the sky. It would be one place and it would just suddenly change to be moved to somewhere else. I mean, and when I said something like flick your fingers, and it must have been moving something. Well, as I was really far away from it, it was something like 100 miles, but it might well have been 1,000 miles. I mean, it was just incredible. And then suddenly there were two of them, and then they were kind of zooming about. As I say, I had to check on it every time I did have to look at the road occasionally, but it was quite strange. I mean, at first I started to tell myself, "You're not seeing this at all. This is just, you're making it up. This is just, it's just." I nearly said it's the sun. It said it was in the night, so it was dark.
How
But it's
weird.
very interesting. I really enjoyed it.
When was that?
Oh, it's a good few years ago, about 20 years ago or something like that. But I think now, looking back, I'm wondering was it ball? I mean, I've not, if it was, I'd never seen lightning before or since. I've heard people talk about ball lightning, but it was just this really bright thing, way miles away, but it moved at incredible speed.
Well, you never know. Could be. I saw this
But
weird flashing balloon thing a couple of years ago. I bored Roz and Val about it at Poets Out Loud about it. That was odd.
Well, for a long time at this bit, there was unexplained bangs, and then years later they realised it was that Black Hawk, the stealth fighter thing, the stealth bomber fighter reconnaissance thing from America that was
Oh.
coming over at faster than the speed of sound. So it was sonic booms that people were hearing. But of course, no one admitted to it, and they said there's nothing showing up on radar. Now, whether they just said that or nothing was showing up on radar, but so you do wonder. I mean, looking at it, I'm thinking, is this some sort of military exercise going on over Kintyre?
You wouldn't know. Wow. Well, welcome to the X Files with George. Uh,
I'd rather let you think it was a UFO than admit to whatever they were getting up to.
that's true. They'd want you to think it was a UFO, then yeah.
They would,
Yeah, well, as I say, that for a long time there was these unexplained bangs that no one ever said anything about, and then later on they realised that it was the American Air Force, and I think there was some of the times it was them doing these secret flights, when they went and grabbed people and illegally took them, so they came through Britain, but it was illegal, so they didn't tell anybody. And they came into Prestwick Airport right enough and went out from Prestwick Airport. So who knows? You're right, pal. It could have been that they just wanted you to think it was a strange phenomenon.
Anybody else seen anything else weird they want to talk about? No. Well, I saw something strange during the lockdown. It was this thing that looked like a gyroscope, and it was just floating along, lights flashing, just out the window. I had no idea what that was. It was a couple of weeks before the Afghanistan withdrawal and all that stuff. So the weird thing was a black helicopter flew after it a couple of hours later.
I think there's a lot more going on than we actually know. Well, I know that there'll be a lot more going on than we know about, but I mean, I think there's more science, unknown science that we don't know anything about.
It's absolutely entirely possible. Anyway, we've somewhat got distracted. Sorry. Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Okay. Val, what have you got for us?
I wrote this one when I was Christmas shopping in Newcastle, and it was a bitterly cold day, and there was a girl sitting on the street with a blanket round her, asking for money. Now it's called Christmas in the City. The sun was sinking low into a darkening sky, and it began to snow as the people hurried by. Huddled on the ground sat a scruffy form, a blanket wrapped around to try to keep her warm. The Christmas lights they twinkled as the snow began to fall, and the very air seemed sprinkled with goodwill to one and all. Yet the people passed her by as she tightly hugged her knees, and a tear slid from her eye. I prayed she would not freeze. Why sit there in the snow? Why not just go home? Did she have no place to go? Was she really so alone? The bright lights called me in, and the Christmas songs came on. I had shopping to begin. All thoughts of her were gone. Then as I drank a cup of tea and got ready for my bed, I was grateful to be me, to have a roof above my head. So God help this little waif, please don't let her die, and keep our children safe beneath your Christmas sky.
Yeah, that's very, very moving, that, Val. Yeah, there's a lot of people living rough, and the Christmas is a tough time for them.
So I saw her, I walked past her, and then I went off and did my Christmas shopping and forgot about her until I got home, and then she suddenly popped back into my head, and I just thought, like she was only quite young. I just thought, I hope she was all right, sort of thing. Just has to do.
Yeah, it's hard.
Thank you, Val. That's powerful. George, with you.
Yeah, I'm going to take you back down a dark route as well, I'm afraid, Phil. I just typed this morning. I wrote it a couple of days ago, but I kind of hadn't typed it out, so I typed it out this morning. So this is snafu, SNAFU, snafu. All is normal here, just the odd flooding, droughts, and gales. Annual 100-year events. Rivers are our sewers, plastic are our gods. Don't panic, just spend, spend, spend. There are goods to buy, there are meals to eat, multitudes of charity shops. Yes, all is normal here. It's many years since sirens told workers to return to work, made children hurry to school, the nervous recall when war was near. Memorials like mushrooms sprouted in the town. Men still draw lines in sand. Yes, all is normal here. We weigh the good and bad, make of war a song, wave flags, march in time, watch others fall, easy the kill, how distant others' death. We crowd our days with woe. There is someone at the door. I refuse to hear or flee. Yes, all is normal here.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful as well, George. You just wrote that today.
Yeah, well, I wrote I tidied it up today, but I really wrote it a couple of days ago, and then I couldn't I couldn't be bothered typing it out. Don't know if you ever have that. You write something in a blaze of enthusiasm, and then it sits on a table staring accusingly at you as you walk on by. So I decided this morning that well, actually, because I was going to a writers group as well, I thought I better type it out. So I typed it out and I posted it on Facebook this morning actually, because it seemed to me rather true. But I think that's one of the disappointments about Christmas. You feel that we've become, what's the word, lip service to the
Mm.
idea. Like, a bit like what you were talking about there, Val, about the homeless people. but we pay lip service to the thing. I mean, did you see? I understand why they're angry. The person that was railing because it looks as though they're going to have to pay another million in inheritance tax because of the Chancellor's changes. And I thought, yeah, but if you're paying a million in inheritance tax, how much you still bloody got?
Yeah.
You know? And but I understand. I mean, I would be equally as angry probably if I was the person that had the million, but you sort of also, I feel like saying to them, but have you used the health service? Has anybody in your family used the health service? Do you have an elderly relative that's in a care home? So, uh, sorry, I tend to go off on one, Phil.
No, it's like, I quite like hospitals and schools and, potholes being filled in and things like that,
Well, you had a pothole filled in recently, Phil.
Yeah, 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 there was some maintenance done, yeah. The whole town got out and celebrated.
No, I mean I wouldn't be here for the help, but for the health service, and
Yeah.
I know so many people. I've got a neighbour who complains that she pays tax in a small amount of her pension. She said, "I don't see why I should do this." And I said to her, "But you've had the ambulance out 6 times in the last 5 weeks, and
Yeah,
you didn't pay for that. Bet you would have paid for that more than you paid in the small amount you pay in your pension."
yeah.
Sorry, this is meant to be a cheery time.
No, no, we need some harsh realities sometimes, once a month. It's good. All right, Roz, what have you got for us?
I'm just listening to that put me in mind of this. I'm across in this old book. It's from 20, yeah, February 20. So I don't know if it was read on here or not. It might have been. It was called Life and Taxes, and just put me in mind of it. When I was poor, I knew where I stood. Taxing the rich was inherently good. But my definition of rich, I fear, is not clear. God, I can't read. My definition of rich is not clear. It's become a more movable idea because rich now, most obviously, means the people who have more than me. Slap in the middle of the tax divide. I'm not responsible for either side. I say to those shirkers who whinge and whine, I earned what I've got and what's mine is mine. And it's the very wealthy who should pay for the services we expect today. I invest in improving my lifestyle, maintaining its upward trajectory, while I complain when a pay rise means more tax. So I'll get an offshore account. Relax. You know I deserve to enjoy what I've got. Why should I finance the rest of you lot? Although it does appear that I've got more than Mr. Average has stashed in his drawer. I'm not selfish, heartless, or greedy. I help the disadvantaged and needy, generously giving philanthropically, using my tax avoiding charity. For its causes, I'll work tirelessly, at least until I've got my OBE. What was that? But that's just different views on tax, which tax is something I'm a great believer in, to be honest. Say I like paying it would be a lie, but I do think it's a necessary part of life. So I'll shut up on that topic.
No, no, that's fair. But, I just want to point out that we're not actually offering any financial advice on these calls. And there's artistic
Don't we
license.
have to pay you, Phil? Isn't that how it works?
Oh, I haven't got that figured out. And what a fool. Yeah, good stuff. We're about to time out, so use the same login, and we'll pick up again, and we'll go around again if that sounds all right. Cool. All right. See you again in just a moment. Are we in the mood for a little story with everyone's favourite feathered vigilante detective Well, I pulled this together this afternoon, so it's a bit rough around the edges. But yeah. Do we remember what happened last time? Okay. Kung Fu Penguin, Episode 8. Previously, private investigator Kung Fu Penguin, disgraced physics professor and paranormal podcaster Davinia Brush, space adventurer Ray Beam, mystic Alaska May Fortune, and General Malaise accompanied Professor Schrodinger aboard a submarine to a location in the Mariana Trench. A strange sphere of blue light appeared. Kung Fu Penguin sets out to investigate. Meanwhile, General Malaise decides to question Professor Schrodinger using Miss Fortune's hypnotic powers, when suddenly a bright light illuminates the subterranean canyon. A power outage strikes the sub, and Kung Fu Penguin is caught in the mysterious beam of light. Dun dun dun! Kung Fu Penguin floats motionless in the deep waters of the Mariana Trench. He's enveloped by a shimmering azure glow. The feathered detective opens his eyes. Looking around, streaks of light strobe from his arms and legs, and he catches a glimpse of a figure several feet below him. It's Kung Fu Penguin. What the hell? Kung Fu Penguin pondered. Why am I looking at me? What the heck? Where the heck am I? This is weird. Suddenly, a sparkling golden rectangle, shaped like a low-budget doorway made of tinsel, appeared before the detective. I've got to decide which voice I was going to use, because I was practicing with a different voice, and then I thought I might do it, my Alec Guinness. So, join us. The voice echoed around his head. Excuse me? Open the door and join us. Us? Who is us? Where are you? We are all around. How would you understand it? We are inhabitants of a neighboring realm. A neighboring realm? Like Canada? What are you talking about? Join us on the astral plane. See, we're getting into weird territory again. Great. I'm dying and I've got a kooky spirit trying to hang out with me. Why don't you tell me what this is all about? It's only at the point of death that we understand life. Huh? Really? Well, things don't seem that much clearer. Maybe I'm not dying. Why don't you join us in the great beyond, as you call it? There are so many possibilities that await. Maybe you should talk to Alaska May Fortune. She's probably more attuned to this kind of discussion. Even Professor Brush. She could make a whole episode of the Dr. Bobcat Investigates Paranormal podcast from this. You should take this seriously. Your life hangs in the balance. I'm not ready to leave yet. I got too many things to sort out. Answers to questions I want. And then, because I'm still trying to pitch this to the West End as a musical, although they're not returning my calls, we segue into the musical number. And it goes something like this. You could learn so much, solve each and every mystery, find the answers from any time in history. Do. That's an interesting point of view, but I'm sorry I've got a job to do. There's things I'd love to know. Well, you see, I just don't want to go. Open that door of knowledge. It's a temptation very great. Will you gain enlightenment, or fulfill your ultimate fate? Do. Again, interesting point of view, but sorry I've got a job to do. There's things I'd love to know. Well, you see, I just don't want to go. You could understand all those unseen machinations. There's so many out to get you. You'll have all those revelations. Do. That's an interesting point of view, but sorry, I've got a job to do. There's things I'd love to know. Well, you see, I just don't want to go. We'll fix all that in post. There'll be music and everything. Suddenly, the golden doorway disappeared as a large plume of bubbles sprang forth from the submarine. Something was heading at high velocity in the direction of the stricken diver. Dun dun dun. Will we find out what's happened to our hero? What's occurring on the submarine? Has a torpedo just been fired? Has the mysterious light left any solutions behind? Will we ever get the answers to these perplexing questions? Find out next time on Kung Fu Penguin. There you are. End. Fin. Thank you.
Brilliant, Phil. Have you thought of crowdfunding this, by the way? I mean, I'd send £1.
Oh, that was sorted.
We could do the film.
Yes. I mean, the film, that'd probably be £2.
Oh yeah, well, I'll kick it up a bit, Phil. I would love to see the film of this, Phil.
Oh wow, okay. Me too. Your people can talk to my people. We'll see what we can do.
Pitch it to somebody.
You just, unfortunately, the way it works is if you were the son of someone that was an actor or a famous producer or something like that, suddenly there would be a film made and it'd all be done.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know anyone with those connections.
Well, I'll go out and see if I can find them, Phil. We'll see what we can do. Maybe this is Christmas.
Thanks, George. You're the best. All right, Val, follow that.
Right. I wrote this when I was travelling back from Birmingham. We just had a storm and all the trains were cancelled and blah blah. So it's called The Train Journey. A pale sun was shining when I got on the train at Birmingham. When I changed trains at Wolverhampton, there were big splodgy drops of splashy wet rain. Stafford was just windy and cold. On the way to Crewe, the sky suddenly became dark and a blizzard came down, thick and fast. Nothing to see except sleety, wet snow. And then, as if by magic, large curly flakes of snow began to fall, and the air seemed full of feathers blowing around in the wind, turning the fields and trees white. It was amazing and beautiful, a Christmas card picture in a real-life snow globe, a magical moment in a long and miserable day. Thank you.
That was great. Yeah, there is something magical about it when it starts to snow and you see the flakes of snow coming down. I don't know if we'll have a white Christmas this year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think we might have a white Christmas this year. Although I was just talking to someone about the fact that doesn't mean to say that if you bet on a white Christmas, it means that you win your bet. Because if I remember rightly, it has to be something that it's so many minutes of snow at a weather centre on Christmas Day. So the fact that you're having to dig the way out your house doesn't count. It's something like that. I mean, it's something mad. There's 20 weather centres around the country, and that's where it has to be snowing there, and it has to snow for so long on Christmas Day, I think, for it to be a white Christmas.
See, this Kung Fu Penguin project's never going to get funded with those kind of bets being played.
Yeah. It does sound like something surreal, doesn't it? Because I remember many years ago there was someone, it was snowing at their house, but 10 miles away at the weather centre, it didn't actually fall there. So They thought they'd just win £1 million or something, and it turned out they hadn't won anything.
The weather centre's probably got loads of heaters on, so it doesn't snow there.
There's a guy with a blanket waving.
You have to have some criteria, otherwise you could just point to the mountains and say there's a bit of snow on the top or something like that.
Yeah, but what if you hired a snow machine and surreptitiously went round behind the weather centre blowing snow?
Could be Christmas every day then, couldn't it?
That's brilliant.
God.
That's
our next film, Phil.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, I'll work on that. We'll work on that. It's good.
Yeah.
George, we're with you actually. So what have you got for us?
Well, I was trying to see if I thought I maybe had something that was a wee bit cheerier than my normal. And believe it or not, this is actually cheerier, I think. It might not sound it in the beginning, but hopefully it is at the end. I was at a workshop in 7th of December. And one of the things we were to do was to look at things that nourished and good words and things like that. So this was mine at Beadnell Shore. Do you know Beadnell? It's just down from it's just down from oh God, that's terrible. It's on the coast looking out to the Farm Islands. So it's just above sea houses and down from what's the big castle again? God, I should know the castle. But anyway, you know where I am.
Is that Bamborough Castle?
Bamborough, of course it's Bamborough. Yeah, I don't know. I'm beginning to lose words. Bamborough Castle. At Beadnell Shore. I gaze over the North Sea, it is grey and overcast, and waves crash on the beach, that endless song of sea. Sometimes a whisper, today is angry, to match my ranting heart, for I am alone and want someone. Last night I drank red wine and toasted absent love. So here as birds squabble over seeds, I'm cursing God and life, and these tides which carry happiness in, then wash it away. I hunger for a hand to reach for mine. I hear children running with a kite. It's soaring in the gathering wind. Suddenly, like a needle in my heart, I realise how fortunate I have been. To have so many who gathered up my woes, the friends, the family, and there along the beach a stunted tree is bearing leaf, and I return to forest, the smell of pine, the mountains back in Scotland, wait for me. And now there is light glinting on the sea. I taste salt rolling in the breeze, and I am free to fly, go as I please, so it pleases me. The tide is coming in, and even as this day will lose the sun, it gains the moon, and ever on and ever in its turn. I walk along the sand, delight in every surge, and seabirds gliding effortlessly remind me how the gale is harnessed.
That was wonderful. That's a lot of great imagery there, George. And yeah, wind and rage and tides and yeah.
It's a lovely. It's one of my favourite spots. I mean, if someone once said to me, "Where is your favourite spot?" I don't know if you've had that, and people say, especially in writing groups, quite often it happens. It's like, "We'll write a piece about your favourite place," and I think, "Give me a dictionary or a map, and I'll stick pins in it, and there's probably favourite places all over. Well, I don't go abroad very much, so they're mainly in the UK, but." You know, just there's so many places I wouldn't like to try and say what's favourite.
Well, that was a good one. I like that. Thank you for writing about that place.
It is a lovely spot.
All right. Roz, have you got something for us?
You can have another one. Thank you. That's this journey was just I think it was on the night before we had the thing in the wild zucchinis, and I thought I've got to write something, so I just made this up, and it's just about journey. I'm on a journey. That could be a metaphor for life, only I'm on the M1A The road stretched out in front of me, like a ribbon, running over the horizon to the vanishing point where the land meets the blue, white and grey of a cloud-filled sky. On either side, sheep graze on lush green grass. Pastoral, like a painting, life imitating art, when art was about beauty. The journey continues up over moorland. All around looks flat and empty, so desolate, so eternal, so lifeless. Silently, the miles slip past. Finally, the landscape gives way to hills that rise majestically before us, strong and permanent, yet playful in their up and then down, reflecting the highs and lows, like the moments in life. And this is the metaphor for what I call living. What was that?
That was great as well. There was a lot of pieces very evocative of place and landscape, and yeah,
Lovely. Really lovely. Right.
fantastic. All right, do we fancy going around one more time, and then we can wind things up? Yeah.
I've got a whole book full here. I'll keep going with something.
Last poet standing. Well, we'll go around one more time, and then we'll call it a day. I can't remember if I read this one or not. It's called In Praise of Silence. It's like one of George's. It's really a happy one. In Praise of Silence. It is the sound of absence, a muted cacophony, stillness in high fidelity, nothingness. An echo with no cause to sound, a bird without a song. It is a hollowed call of the air, and follows the laughter of time. It is the soundtrack of concentration, a home to thoughts, sanctuary for ideas, waiting to be dreamt of. Silence doesn't sound its own trumpet. It relishes an enigmatic charm. Many ponder the riddle of its existence. Others seek the promise of enlightenment it holds. No oscillation, vibrations at zero. Pray silence. Pray in silence, a silent prayer, and silence fell. A surface not yet broken by tiny waves of concentric circles, a silvery pond unrippled. What sonic delights await to be? Silence is golden. Silence is stifling. Silence is everywhere. You are not. There you are. Thanks very much. Not really sure where it came from, but there you are. All right. Val, what have you got for us?
I read this one. It's called Christmas Colours. It was when I was kind of experimenting with rhyming patterns, so each verse kind of leads into the next one. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough. This evening's walk begun into a blinding sun, reflected on hills of gold. But now it's getting cold on this frosty winter's day, as the final golden ray sinks down below the horizon. Now the full moon rising casts its silvery hue in a cloak of dusky blue on the snow-topped hills, and as the evening chills, the sky turns to indigo. The sea gleams white below, like satin under velvet sky. The lighthouse winks its eye one sultry shining star. Yellow headlights from afar herald the onset of the night. Orange glow from a street light illuminates the increasing black, and it's dark when I get back. But there is magic in the air, coloured lights are everywhere, a fairyland of Christmas light, twinkling in the black of night.
Oh, that was great, Val, and such a wonderful use of all those different colours in there as well. That was really, yeah, brought it vividly to life. That was great. Fantastic. Okay, George, what have we got?
Yeah, I'll do another one from the same workshop, actually. It's a kind of favourite memory. Place you usually think about somewhere outside, don't you? But this place was our kitchen when I was a child. From when I was really young, from my earliest memories, virtually, this kitchen. So this is, and I've just noticed, it's called the kitchen Formica table. I don't even know if you can get Formica anymore, which seemed so cutting edge when I was a child. The kitchen Formica table. It's a kind of prose type poem. I sit in the corner because I fitted the space beside the cooker, under the hot water tank, which gurgled when the back boiler in the living room fire blazed and sent more and more boiling water to replenish as the kitchen taps were opened by Mum. I hear it now. Dad saying, "Sausages for the boys," like Tommy Lorne, holding a square sliced delight and pressing it between those huge work-made hands to make it go further, and I, with my two brothers, laughing and Mum humming at the sink, and walls the colour I came to think of as hospital green, cold and heartless, were in that room a warm embrace, the record of our heights etched by the door, and I am seated in that corner, safe, secure.
Yeah, that was very evocative of a moment and a time and a space and a place. Yeah.
I often think that health and safety, if it was anything like that now, would probably have banned sitting a child under the boiling hot water tank. You know, where you could hear the bubbling water above you, but it was nice and warm in the corner. And I sat in there because I fitted, because I was the smallest, so I fitted under the tank, which was supported by a big steel beam which was put into in the corner was put into. I don't know if other people had occasions like this. In the corner at the beside the cooker was a steel beam which came out of one wall diagonally into there, so the hot water boiler could sit on top of it. And there was no thermostat control. It was just that the back boiler and at the fire heated up the water so that any time it was drawn off, hot water just kept going back into this tank. I presume there must have been some sort of thermostat somewhere, but I don't know. But it did cross my mind a couple of times as a child when you heard the tank really burbling away. I hope this beam never gives way.
Well, it didn't, so that's
No,
great.
it didn't. No, it was great, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but you know the Lorne sausage in Scotland, the square sausage is called Lorne sausage, and I don't know. I'll need to look it up again. One theory was it was called that after Tommy Lorne, the comedian, because his catchphrase used to be "sausages for the boys." I think he did an advert for them.
Well, maybe it's on YouTube somewhere. We'll find it. That's great, George. Thank you very much for sharing that.
By the way, does everybody else do this with square sausages? I still do it. You put them between your, and you smash them with the heels of your hand, so you flatten them out, and they cook quicker, but they spread out further, so they fill up more of a sandwich. No, I can see
No,
them
I
all.
didn't. That's I wasn't expecting culinary tips from you, George. Oh, you get all sorts on these. Girls, it's great. Roz, have you got any tips
Yep.
for square sausages?
What's the square ones? No. I don't know. I don't think I've ever
I
had a
don't think
square.
it works with links.
Eh? Works with long ones and all. Oh dear. Sorry, my computer's rubbish tonight. Everybody keeps freezing up. And I'm losing words as well. Never mind. Hopefully. Anyway, I haven't got anything so warm and cozy or foody. So I just got this one, Keeping Old Promises, which is again from November 19. And it was, I can't remember, is it for Val or for Ange, but one of them I begged some money off at some point. You know, I care most deeply, and what I say is usually true, and I always honour the promises I ever made to you. Best not to ask me when, though, because I haven't got a clue. Take that pound you once lent me. I swore blind I'd return it to you, even though my lack of funds meant it was impossible to do. But life has treated me kindly, and pounds I have now got a few, so I can finally keep that promise, although I'll need to break it too, to recompense you fairly for its value in 1972. When I take account of inflation, it seems that £12.50 is due. And that was in 2019. It's probably about 20 quid by now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like that Antiques Roadshow or whatever it is, and someone comes along and says, my mother paid £100 for this in 1905, or my grandmother in 1905. And the person says, well, it's worth about £300 now, you've done really well. And you think, what? £100 could have bought them a bloody house, you know?
I know. It's terrifying, isn't it, when you hear some of the things on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's astonishing when you hear something like that. Yeah.
I mean, the opposite is I remember working with a chap whose parents had bought a house in Westminster and like near to Harrods. Maybe that's not Westminster, near to Harrods, had bought a flat in something like 1953 and left it to him. No, she gave it to him when he was in his 40s, just gave him the house. And I don't know what it was worth then, but I mean, he'll still probably have it. And I'm thinking he's probably a multi-millionaire now.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Wow. Oh dear. You take that one on the Antiques Roadshow. Here's the flat from the 1950s. Value this. All right. Oh well, it's nearly Christmas. You might have noticed that I'm gonna try and make this a bit more festive, so bear with me. I'll put my Christmas hat on. Oh yeah, there we are.
Should have said, and I'd have put my head bopper things on.
That's all right. That'll do. That's enough Christmas
Well, I
for us.
brought you them all last Wednesday. I bought 4 hats and a pair of reindeer ears, a sparkly headband, and nobody wanted them.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like Christmas last week. I mean, it's still ages away, isn't it?
I know.
It's like a week tomorrow. I mean, how did that happen? Anyway.
Give me 10 minutes and I'll run out and wrap myself in Christmas paper.
Tempting.
And post yourself to Phil. You can unwrap you on Christmas Day.
What a strange vision that is. Anyway, thank you for this. This is you probably heard this poem before. This is the true meaning of Christmas. It goes like this. Is lying to children the true meaning of Christmas? Just behave, don't let Santa see. The whole concept is one big fantasy. Is this even the biggest deception? Don't alarm bells ring at the idea of immaculate conception? Never mind that. It's all presents and stress. Bits of tinsel that make such a mess. Decorations! that art of delegation. Advent calendars to you, cards for me, and the tree's us. And as we all know, the patron saint of pine needles is Jesus. So comes the big day. Enough food to last until May. Wishing goodwill to you and goodwill to me. The annual photos, which all look identical. Time to open presents under the tree. Piranhas rip through brightly coloured paper. The remnants go out in the litter. Despite all your best efforts, everything gets covered in glitter. There's plenty of booze, in this case sherry for the rallies. After the mayhem of crackers, turkey and sprouts, this is an old poem, watch the Queen and Doctor Who on the telly. More food, things become a blur. Please, no more games, no more forced fun, this just isn't fair. Let's try to stay friends. At least make it to the end of one day. This one day. And the game of Monopoly ends in traditional flair, as the board and all the pieces fly through the air. Time for bed, before the inevitable tears. If this is your idea of Christmas, I can't wait for New Year's. And there we are. That's the true meaning of Christmas. Thank you very much. All right. There we are. That's SpeakEasy Online for another year. We'll do this again in January.
Phil.
But thank you all. Give yourselves a round of applause for the wonderful readings you've given us tonight.
And just to repeat, best wishes for the season to everybody, and for the year ahead, and for everything ahead. And great, lovely stuff tonight, but it's been great all year, Phil. Thanks.
Well, thank you, George, and thank you, Val and Raz, and everyone else who's joined us over the course of the year. It's been great, and look forward to more in 2025. Have a good Christmas. Have a good one.
Yes, you too. Happy Christmas.
Yeah. Bye, folks.
Fantastic. See you again soon. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.